السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the articles of faith is to believe in al-qada wal-qadar khayrihi wa sharrihi. To believe in the destiny that's a good or bad. Whatever comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you accept it with an open heart. And believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided that for a great wisdom. That sometimes is not that easy for us, but it depends on your iman. ما على المرء إلا أن يسعى ويبذل جهده ويقضي إله الخلق ما كان قاضيا. And despite that, we believe in a destiny, we still have to do our means. You cannot say, oh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote for us that we are going to have this and that, so I will sit back doing nothing. Okay, with the same concept, Allah wrote for you, you're going to be full and satisfied. Just stare at the food and do not put it in your mouth. Inshallah, you are going to be satisfied. We have to make the means. And the result that's in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does not mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote that for us. That means that things happen with no effort and no taking the means, the possible means, in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For us, we're going to be questioned about our side. Have we took the right means or not? It's not going to be questioned about the result. The result is not in our hand, in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of your matter is part of the destiny. One time, Sayyidina Umar was asking the companion, and people at the time, when they heard that the city, when they are approaching, that they have kind of a transmitted disease, plague or something like that, ta'un. You can say the rat disease, where at that time they have not have any knowledge about the hadith, because the Sahaba, not necessarily all Sahaba knows all the hadith. So the Sayyidina Umar was consulting the Sahaba first, Muhajirin and then Ansar and then other ones. So he was happy and satisfied to take the decision that not to enter the city. While they are there, actually, Abdul Rahman ibn Auf came with the hadith that said, I heard that Rasulullah said this and that actually matching with the ijtihad of Umar. So he made his jihad and his jihad match with the hadith of Rasulullah. As you know, if you are approaching a city like that, do not enter it. And if you are already inside it, do not leave it. But the point here, why I brought this story, because when Sayyidina Umar decided, Sayyidina Ubaidah was very excited to continue going to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for jihad. He said, are we escaping from the destiny of Allah? Sayyidina Umar said, I wish if somebody else said it, oh Abu Ubaidah. Yes, we are escaping from the destiny of Allah to the destiny of Allah. نفر من قضاء الله إلى قضاء الله. All of it by the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or by the will of Allah subhanahu. So you enter it or you leave it, it's all of that, the destiny of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to His knowledge, He knew what you are going to decide, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote that for you. So it's going to happen according to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which absolute. It's not like our knowledge could happen or not. And somebody actually might have a concern, how come that something that Allah wrote for us and He's going to question us about it? In order to understand the qada al-qadr and all of this predestination, you have to link it with 4 of the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just to give you one example about those attributes. For example, sifatul ilmi. The knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we know that Allah knows what happened in the past, what's happening in the present time, what's going to happen in the future. And even what's never happened, if it happened, how it happened. يعلم ما كان وما يكون وما سيكون وما لا يكون إذا كان كيف كان يكون أمره بين الكاف والنون. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His knowledge is limited, His knowledge is unlimited, and His knowledge will never change. So He wrote it according to His knowledge. You get the point? If you have an expert teacher from the first maybe class in the semester, he might knew that who's going to pass the class or who's not, from the first quiz or assessment or just the first observation. And if nothing changed, it will happen according to that teacher, what he said. Nowadays, some people, they can predict the rain will come from now and maybe 2 months ahead. Because of some experience and knowledge and mathematics and all of these things. Allah doesn't need experience and doesn't need all of that, so things happen according to His knowledge. I hope that will be clear. Just I link it with one of the attributes, let alone if you link it with other attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are going to have better understanding. Why is that? Because some people, they said, yes, it's all of that, qada'ullah wa qadaruh. What's happening here, what's happening there in Gaza is qada'ullah. Which they mean, oh, qada'ullah wa qadaruh. I have nothing to do about it. There's nothing I can do. If a qada, why even I'm making dua? Oh, you know what? Those people missing a great point. It was mentioned in the hadith, لا يرد القضاء إلا الدعاء. القضاء والدعاء يتنازعان. So there's a qada, the destiny is coming, and the dua is going up. So there is kind of who will have a more strength. In the hadith, there's nothing could change the destiny like the dua. So your supplication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it might change the destiny. However, the change of the destiny is a part of the destiny. So all of that within the destiny of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, what we should do, just take right means. All right possible means as Muslims. The result is not mine, it's not yours. The result in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me share with you the stories that mentioned in Surah Hud. And maybe that will explain to you the reason why the Prophet said, I had a gray hair because of Surah Hud. Because in Surah Hud, Allah mentioned the stories of those prophets. Despite their effort, their people having bad end. It started with the story of Nuh alayhi salam and how it's their end. And he made a dua. رَبِّ لَا تَذَرْ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ دَيَّارًا. Somebody will say, oh, he gave up from them. No. Nuh, he never gave up. Nuh, when he was told, قِيلَ إِنَّهُ لَنْ يُؤْمِنَ مِنْ قَوْمِكَ إِلَّا مَنْ قَدْ آمَنَ. No other person will believe after those already believed. At that time, what's the point? Extra day, extra punishment for them. Let's end their life. So out of mercy for them, he said, لا تذر على الأرض من الكافرين ديارا. However, was not that good end for them. Following that story of Hud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them. Following that, the story of Thamud, the Prophet Salih, same end. Prophet Lut, same end. Shu'aib, same end. Can you imagine? And that's why the Prophet ﷺ was afraid for his ummah would have the same end. But the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam always surviving and always up. وَجَعَلَ كَلِمَةَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا السُّفْلَى وَكَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَا. And look at the expression. Allah made The word of kufr is the lowest one. And the word of him, the word of Allah is above others. And he didn't say وَجَعَلَ كَلِمَةَ اللَّهِ. No, وَكَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ. Look at that again. I will say it again. وَجَعَلَ كَلِمَةَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا السُّفْلَى. And Allah didn't say وَكَلِمَةَ. No. It's a starting a new sentence. وَجَعَلَ كَلِمَةَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا السُّفْلَى. Stop here. وَكَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَةِ. So always the word of Allah will be above others. You have to believe in that. And what we can do again, what's in our hand? Means or result? Means only. The result in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have full trust for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The result will be for the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ma'al mu'mineen wal aqibatu lil muttaqeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant the good end for all of us and for Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ameen. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullah khairan.